Good morning to you all. And today I would like to present my work of our institute, mapping and monitoring recurrent jellyfish blooms in Indian coastal waters, known and unknown. And coincidentally, my topic falls in the lines of Alan Collins, known, unknown, known, unknown, and unknown, unknown style. And as a Thanksgiving mentioned, so I would like to thank my organization, Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, first director H.S. Rao, who was working on Cyphomedice and described two species, which still supports a vibrant fishery in India. And many of you may not know about my institution, so just a brief on that. And we are a national Marine Fisheries Research Institute and covering nearly 8,000 kilometer coastal line in 9 states. And it nearly involved 2 million square kilometer of EEZ and 500,000 kilometer square of continental shelf and 1.25 million hectares of brackish water. So jellyfish is everywhere in these waters. So our responsibility is very high. And we started actually a brief history about it. In 2010, I was asked to work on jellyfish, and in my institute, I was working for nearly 6 years alone on jellyfish. And in 2017, a national dedicated monitoring project was started in our institute. And for the first 3 years up to 2020, we made initial capacity building, and we established nearly 74 jellyfish focal points where recurrent jellyfish swarming happens around the Indian coastal line. And these places, what are all the different jellyfishes are swarming and how year after year that varies along with the abiotic factors, it is monitored. And this is the baseline which we established by 2020. And based on that, we have categorized our 9 maritime states, starting from Gujarat. Is it visible inside? Actually, here or on this side, actually the pointer is not working. Is it working? The Gujarat, where you see the left side, to my left side, 6 numbers of Cyphosovan and Cubosovan. That means including only one Cubosovan is dominant in nature in Indian waters. Is it visible to you? Is it visible? No. So, okay, I will go ahead. Maharashtra, the next 5 numbers of Cyphosovan and Cubosovan, that is only 1 out of 5. And Cubosovan. In Karnataka, 8 numbers. And down south in Kerala, where now the Symposium is going on, 10 numbers. And the other side on the east coast of India, 15 numbers. And Andhra Pradesh, it is 11 number. Odisha, 6 numbers. And West Bengal. So 9 maritime states we are monitoring. We have nearly 15 scientists are based in 9 maritime states to look after these jellyfish swarms in our Indian waters. And based on this in a pilot mode, because the Gujarat, which is located on the this side, you see in the Indian map, to my left, the Gujarat state. So that is the longest coastal line. So we made a pilot to geo-reference jellyfish blooms. So this is what the output. So similar manner for each states, we are planning to geo-reference the jellyfish blooms to create a data set in the coming years. That work is already started from 2020. It's going on. This is the pilot of Gujarat state, where an active. This is okay. No. Yeah. So this is the longest coastline in Indian province. So here there is an active jellyfish fishery of Ketostylus spiracy and Rhopalema hispidum. And this species-wise, this georeferencing has been done for the Gujarat coast. And here in Indian, you must have seen some of our Indian presentations. Finally, definitely there will be variations, and there won't be much uniformity in a swarming pattern, even to comprehend that it is a bit difficult. The reason is that, so if you look at that Indian coastline, this is Indian west coast and Indian east coast. This is from during the southwest, because this is a monsoon country influenced by two monsoon, southwest and northeast monsoon. And during the southwest monsoon, the West India coastal currents that comes from this northern Arabian Sea and flow through the entire Sri Lanka and pass up to this Bay of Bengal region. So the flow will be during this period, especially June to September, it will be like this. So water from the northern Arabian Sea will be going to the Bay of Bengal up to this West Bengal state. So the flow is like this. It carries a high saline water, so characteristically the bloom species differs based on this circulations, whereas in the northeast monsoon the water currents reversal. The East India coastal currents flow from this Arabian Bay of Bengal towards the Arabian Sea. This is low saline in character. So because of these two reasons, highly influenced by this West India coastal currents and East India coastal currents, really the swarming pattern and the distribution, spatial distribution and all highly varies, and introduction of species from the Arabian Sea is happening in the Bay of Bengal. Mostly as per our observations, we see that the route of introduction from west to east in India. And we have a number of coastal ecosystem around 8,000 kilometer of coastal line. So I am giving a small area that is called the Park Bay in the southeastern coast. So these two different ecosystem, Park Bay, a shallow bay, and Gulf of Mannar, which is a coral reef ecosystem. So here, during this 2017 to 2020, the SST and salinity variation was observed, and you can see the SST variation somewhere from 28 degree, it varies up to 33 degree during this period. So nearly 5 degree temperature variation can happen in SST, whereas in the salinity, somewhere during in 2020 up to 28 ppt there was a heavy monsoon during that time, from this up to 35 ppt, and salinity variation is there. And normally here above 34 ppt salinity only there is a bloom in these waters, especially in Park Bay waters. Temperature as it should be above 33. In this case only we get a huge swarm. And by comparing all the entire Indian coastline, we can summarize the swarming season in Indian coastal water something like this. Actually, the monsoon is the main thing. So before monsoon and after monsoon, like that only the major and minor swarm happens. In East Coast, the minor swarm in September, October, and major swarm during Indian summer, March, June. Whereas in the West Coast, Kerala, the pre-monsoon swarm is major and post-monsoon swarm is minor. Whereas in other states in the West Coast, Karnataka and Goa and Maharashtra, and as well as in Gujarat, there is a slight variation in swarming season, September to January and November to May. And even now in Gujarat, there is an active jellyfish fishery is going on. The winter bloom is there in Gujarat coast. And by far the most prevalent jellyfish genus we can call in Indian water Chrysiora. This is prevalent in both the east and west coast. And as far as fishery supporting species is concerned, only 4 species are supporting fishery. The Crumbionella annandale restricted to only along the east coast of India. In Orissa and Andhra Pradesh, in 2 states, there is an active fishery. And arseny is restricted to Kerala waters. And Rhopalema hispidum and Ketostylus perisi is restricted to Gujarat coast. So this is how the fishery supporting species are distributed along the Indian coastline. And here, this is the trend observed in 2022. So this is summarizing all these species found in state-wise. And here in Tamil Nadu, these two important ecosystem, Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar. So maybe in futures we may have to look at the Indian coastline ecosystem wise. That only it will give a meaningful conclusion. Even the state wise categorization also very difficult to interpret. So, by these studies since 2017, we have listed out the major bloom forming jellyfish species in India. Like this, all Crampionella only there are two species, Anandeli and Asini, and Pelagia noctiluca found only in the east coast in a major swarming condition. And Chrysiora, as I told you, is the most dominant species in Indian waters. And Ketostylus ferresi is a fishery supporting species. Acrometus flagellatus is found along the both coast. And Cyanea, I think there are two species, Nosaki and Lamaki is found in Indian waters. And Lycnorhiza malayensis, Netrostoma cirulensis is the dominant species along the west coast, especially even in the Kerala waters, swarm in a big way. And Rhopalema hispidum, again an edible jellyfish. Marivigia stellata has some introduction in east coast of India. Earlier, this was restricted to only the west coast of India. Now we could get some samples from the east coast also. And Sepa is there only in the west coast. Lobonemydus robustus restricted to east coast. And the only jellyfish, box jellyfish, which is found in blooming condition is Cheiropsidus buttonski, and that is restricted to the west coast of India only. So this is the major bloom forming box jellyfish in Indian water. And when we compare, actually this is a paper which we have recently brought in 2023. The Netrostoma cirulensis, which was only found in the west coast, is now available somewhere here along this coast, Odisha coast. So earlier, before 2023 and all, this was not found along this coast. So as I told you, the Western India coastal currents and Eastern India coastal currents play a major role in the distribution of species along the Indian coast, especially along the east coast of India. And here, this is the major species which you can find in the west and east in swarming nature. So there is a variations you can see. The Arsini is restricted only to the west coast, and Anandeli is restricted only to the east coast of India. And Ketostylus ferresi yet to be found along the east coast of India. And then Acrometus flagellatus swarming in the low saline areas, especially in the estuarine and backwater areas of India. And Lycnorhiza malayensis is also very much restricted to west coast of India. And Netrostoma cirulensis has been found along the west coast. So we have brought out a work on that. And Chrysiora, as I told you, the most dominant, has pan-Indian presence. And this is the Cheiropsidus buttonski is the only box jellyfish found in the blooming condition, especially in the west coast. And here along the east coast, we get Alatina during the season, here especially in the Tamil Nadu coast. This particular season, especially the last 2 months, more than 200 cases of fishermen has had to be treated for this stings, envenomation cases. So only along the, actually you must have heard in the earlier presentation yesterday, many of the west coast, they were not having much practice of managing envenomation, but whereas along the east coast, there is a severe envenomation is going on due to box jellyfish stings. So there is a need to manage this sting cases in a better manner, especially box jellyfish. And one another species which has been described here, the Acrometus rabanchatu. From this area, there is a lake, brackish water lake, Chilka Lake, but not much work, nothing has been done, and no other work has been done. So Acrometus flagellatus only described from Indian waters, and Acrometus maculosus and rabanchatu has been very well described from Indian waters, but unknown category. And here again, this Crampionella annandeli, which is described by our the first director and is a fishery supporting species, and this has been considered by the international community as Norman dubium for long, and we described redescribed this species again with the help of one of our associates from South Africa, and so we published it. And the Crumbinella annandale and the Crumbinella arseni is this overlapping areas like this. And here normally you have found Crumbinella arseni here in a chocolate in color. We have recently collected some bluish color arseni also in recent collections. And some molecular work also has been done during this time, and we have found in Gulf of Mannar water, especially in the east coast of India, Cassiopeia zamacana, and whereas on the west coast, Cassiopeia andromeda has been recorded. And here another unknown is that I am working from somewhere here, and these waters Lobonemades robustus is found, and my Sri Lankan counterpart tells me that Lobonemades gracilis is found here. And some of the earlier works states that Lobonemades gracilis is suspected to be the juvenile form of Lobonemades robustus. So these things has to be worked out in the future. And similarly, the third species of Lobonemades civilli, which is available very much holotype in our Zoological Survey of India, which was collected by Ray H.S. Rao, our first director from Andaman Sea. It is adjacent to Myanmar and from this area, but no description, no work, nothing has been done so far. So one another work is pending for a long in India. And as far as DNA barcoding work is concerned, three different color type of Crassiora has been found in east coast of India, and we tried molecular work, and only with this particular pattern, which gives good results, and it turns out to be Crassiora chinensis. These two are not successively. We are failing in getting result, so work is on. And here from Kerala waters again, the Crassiora species molecular work has been done, but my associates tells me that the species level confirmation is a bit difficult with what is available along the Kerala coast. So as far as Crassiora is concerned, it is found to swarm both the coast, east and west coast. Still, species problem exists. Only one species, Crassiora chinensis, can only be confirmed. And another species which has been described as Crassiora calipariae from east coast of India, but many South Asian workers are conferring or using this particular species name, but no work, no molecular data, and even Morandini has tried to describe this in his monograph, but still this needs to be known. And Acrometus flagellatus work as far as Kerala water is concerned has been carried out by one of my associates, and these two color patterns, the blue and brown, both falls into this Acrometus flagellatus type only. And whereas Catostylus species, again the species level confirmation needs further analysis. And whereas recent phenomena is Noctiluca scintillans bloom comes in a big way. Earlier it was following a 10 years cycle. Now since 2019, year after year, it comes in a big way. Here this is Gulf of Mannar, this is Park Bay. I am working from somewhere here. You can see the green, and there is an interplay between jellyfish bloom and Noctiluca scintillans, like that many works are there. And we really do not know how this Noctiluca blooms, which leads to hypoxic condition in the seas, helps jellyfish blooms. So with all this unknown, actually many people now work in India also on jellyfish. This has got attention of many. And similarly, an Indian cartoonist is also attracted to jellyfish bloom, and he has come out of a series of jellyfish cartoons. With that, I conclude my presentation.